Peace, peace, peace. Everybody hear me out there? Peace. Ain't now, what's the deal? Yeah.
It's 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I've been, right now it's crazy hectic. But, man, listen. But, let me hit you back in a little while. Actually, I'm gonna be on my way down there in a little while. Right now I don't got that. I got, I don't even, you know me, man. This is, all right. Peace. Can y'all hear me in there? Peace, peace, peace. Can y'all hear me? One, two, 1, 2. All right. Yes. So we was having the same problems from yesterday. So we got Christopher Gooden in here, El Lowry, Shaquem, Raphael Statura, Musaddiq, Divine Truth, Knowledge Born, Fly Phrase, Celestine Best. Yeah, we got Word 60, Albert Alamo. So yeah, today, we coming from a perspective, you know what I'm saying, looking at the enforcement of how things been going on, you know, how they've been enforcing the social distance rules and how the hammer seems to really be coming down on the Black community. You know what I'm saying? And how, you know, especially being that we know that some of these rules, you know, just historically, once they get instituted, they never actually go away. You know, so the last couple of days we've been considering what type of solutions we might be able to come up with. Is everyone hearing me? Shaquem is saying he's not hearing me. Peace, peace, peace. Am I being heard or am I not being heard? All right, Fly Phrase and Shaquem is saying they don't hear me. Divine Truth is saying he hears me. Yeah, I think some people probably need to, maybe you need to turn your speakers up or something. Just Ruler just came in. Just Ruler is new to the room. Welcome to the room. You know, everybody do the each one teach one. And hit the like button for me. It does appear the alerts are going out a little bit slowly today. Where you from, Just Ruler? But at any rate, we considering different solutions. I see Magnetic in here. We considering different solutions, to how we can improve our situation where we won't be subject. No doubt. Yeah, Sun God. I knew I recognized Alberto Alamo. Teran Reed, 793rd came in. But we got to consider, some solutions, and not just in the form of saying, we're going to be fighting back, militantly. I'm talking about solutions that, because that's just one battle. God Cyber Divine just came in. Just Ruler say from Long Island. Shout out to Long Island. Peace to Just Ruler. Welcome to the channel. But because that's just one battle. You know what I'm saying? You can win some battles that way. But you can't really improve your situation. You know what I'm saying? Even when you deal with Build or Destroy, after you destroy comes born. You know what I'm saying? You have to have something to born in order to make that cipher complete. In order to keep everything at balance. So, we considering this week of, what we could do to solve our situation, on a just dealing with society. Today, we got a guest coming in to speak with us about the ADOS movement, as a political solution to what we see going on right now. You know what I mean? And how we might go about that, what success at that looks like. How do we actually do it? You know what I'm saying? A lot of times a person presents an idea to us, right? But we don't know the day-to-day movement, how to live it out is what I'm saying. In terms of, let's say a person comes with a movement and you agree with them. What do you do the next day? When you wake up in the morning, what could you do to say you're working on that goal? Sun God said he don't think it's gonna open back up on the Knowledge Power Day. Mr. Green One, my brother. Well, yeah, what I'm hearing right now is that in California, they've extended it to August. I'm pretty sure brother was on the live with us last night. He said they extended it to August. So I guess looking at it that way, it's possible that everybody's gonna want to be uniform in the way how they roll that out. Hopefully today we didn't get any new bad news, about our treatment out here. Like I said, later on in the week, the bar just came in. St. God said he hears on the 6th of June. I mean, it's possible. You know what I'm saying? One thing that I think is kind of a hallmark of this whole event is that we got a lot of information, but we don't know a lot. It's just a lot of information out there. People saying, this about it, that about it. You got this many fatalities, that many fatalities. You know what I'm saying? So I guess, the 6th of June, I guess we'll look forward to that. L. Lowry said, I think it's a mistake to reopen. What do you see happening if they reopen, in June? Urban Gorilla. Peace, black man. See Urban Gorilla in a minute. Yeah, what do you see happening if they reopen prematurely, and how long, what do you think should be the cue for them to reopen? DeBar, did you see the article that I sent you? I sent you an article about people that were volunteering. People were volunteering to be infected so that they could take part in the vaccine trials. So everybody's saying they think it's a little bit early to reopen. God Cypher Devon said, I think it's a mistake to reopen automatically. That's another question about this thing is, how do you do it systematically? You know what I'm saying? Like when you roll it out, which locations, which events, which stores, because that's kind of a picking of winners and losers. God Cypher Devon says sending people back to work yet keeping the schools closed doesn't make sense. I mean, personally, that's the type of thing that I would prefer. I'd rather them leave it like that. You know what I'm saying? And I'd rather figure out a way to move around that because, like I said, I appreciate the aspect of, not having to send my daughter, somewhere that I know is, culturally, they're teaching things that I don't teach. $793 said old people are dying and some kids are getting sick. That is the cue, nothing more nor less from our state leaders, since at the top they're most concerned with economy. Yeah, that's a big deal right now. You're right about that. The economy, some stores, when you're dealing with the corporate stores, they good, but a lot of mom and pop shops, they really can't afford to be out of business this long. So that's another thing. We had one of those situations where, because it's a tight situation, almost anything that somebody does or whatever it happens for one person, it affects everybody else. So, opening and not opening both have their pluses and minuses. Some guy said he saw people in the park today like nothing. Well, it's going to be more and more people, at this point, it's a little bit stir craziness setting in. You know what I'm saying? So, especially you got the nice days coming right now. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people, they ready to get back into the action. You know what I'm saying? And with anything, you know what I'm saying, you become accustomed. You know what I'm saying? So like there's a danger, but you become accustomed to that danger in a way that you don't notice it. You know what I'm saying? Like for instance, if you grow up in certain communities, you don't really notice how dangerous your community is, or you don't notice the tension there until you go somewhere else where that tension don't exist. And then you notice how peaceful it is. You know what I'm saying? So right now, being that they had the people so high strung, intense, you know, people being trapped in a house with each other for a period of time, yeah, it's gonna be people just ready to go outside. You know what I'm saying? So that's something else that they're gonna be battling. Yeah, the bar, that particular article, the reason why I sent you the article, right? Because the guy that was in the article, it was an article about how people are volunteering. It wasn't saying they're looking for volunteers. It was actually um like giving a little a summary of different interviews that they've given of people who have volunteered. And what was peculiar to me is that the first little profile that they gave of a person who volunteered was somebody that already donated a kidney. So I thought that was peculiar, being that, pre-existing conditions, uh, make the situation worse, with seeing to me, under those conditions where you have this type of emergency trial where you're not even sure what you're going to do is going to work, that, you would pick people maybe of 100% health and not relative health. Well, let me catch up here. Magnetic said, well, how bad is it in New York City to say it's not safe? Are folks still passing at a high rate, or is it dropping? Well, that's the science of the waves and the curves. They flatten the curve. I think the issue is that there's still an amount of people who haven't been infected that when they come out and begin to mix with the people again, that then you're going to get a second wave of people. You know what I'm saying? Or it's also, I heard a couple of people in this live chat right here mention that they know people who had it twice. So once you get the concentration of people back out there, especially some of them who haven't been exposed, then that's the danger, or one of the dangers. Right. God Cyber Divine said, the issue with sending people back to work but leaving the kids out is if you have young kids who's watching them. But that's what I'm saying. I think it's better for us to solve that problem on our own. You know what I'm saying? Because, pretty much that's the way I see the school building. When they're over there, who's watching them? And what are they instilling in the children? Fly Phrase said, I just seen on the news out in Rome, in the airports, the cops and security guards got these smart helmets that can take people's temperature as they walk by. It works up to 20 feet away. And that's one of the things that I'm saying. That, these are the type of things that having a powerful community allows you to do. You know what I'm saying? Whether or not this type of smart equipment will be allowed into, your community. And then, what happens then? Like we've seen, at least in New York, what happens when, someone is observed not following the social distance rules. So, what does that trigger? Was there any report about, what does it trigger if you have a high temperature? and like we've discussed in the group already, pretty much every ailment has a high temperature as a symptom. So, what happens if, you got a high temperature, I mean, you could have been running through the airport, you rush in to get uh to your flight, and your temperature raises. That's why you sweat, to regulate that. So, these are the things that become dangerous. And then once these smart helmets, come, once the governments pay for all this smart equipment, are they going to say, well, yeah, that's good. That was a one-off. We spent all this money on the smart helmets, but now we never going to use them again. Queen Mecca came in. Lowry said he thinks it will come back stronger. It should stay closed until they come up with an effective way to handle everything, people over profit. Well, Lowry, I think that's one of the issues, is that this is something, there's a concept about the Industrial Revolution, that the Industrial Revolution was taming nature. You know what I'm saying? In the early 1900s, people started to feel that, they had tamed nature. They could dam rivers and, cut down forests, all of these different things that, it was seen before more that, man was subject to nature. You know what I'm saying? And that the Industrial Revolution made nature subject to man. However, periodically we see things that happen that the technology is not developed to deal with. You know what I'm saying? No matter how simple it is. That's been, actually an age-old question. I wouldn't say age-old, but that's been around. I've been hearing people say that since I was a kid, that, we could put a man on the moon, but we can't cure the common cold. I don't want to get into how you see a man being on the moon. So Fly Phrase said that if your temperature is high, they're snatching you up. So that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Knowledge Moore said Atlanta is getting ready to be the testing ground. They're about to open bars and clubs. You're going to see what happens. That's going to be a trace state. Yeah, like I said, all of this is an experiment now. We're all in an experiment. How well you observe the rules of social distancing. What kind of which city you were in when this thing hit, and how that city, how fast that city or how well that city brought in the social distancing rules. You know what I mean? How long it took the city to close. All these different things are the data in the experiment now. Whether they planned it that way or not, at the end of the day, all of this stuff is the data in the experiment. All of the different outcomes that people had at the hospital, those is all experiments, because the technology is not developed to handle this. You know what I'm saying? In a lot of ways, it appears that, a lot of the conventional technology and wisdom that they would use, to deal with respiratory ailments, it seems as though it might exacerbate the situation with this. Shaquem says, since I'm out here in Omaha, Nebraska, I have a totally different vibe than those who have been locked down. No aspect of my daily life has changed significantly. See, now look, that's another aspect of the experiment that we saying right there. You know what I mean? That if you in a, a more rural area, if you in an area with this much population density versus an area with that much population density, what kind of outcomes do they have? You know what I'm saying? Whoa there, yeah. I got uh I got kicked out. I got kicked out of my own I got kicked out of my own chat there for a second. I'm back. I'm back in the mix. Texwell the Wizard. What's the deal? Hold on, Texwell. We got let me paste the link in here for you. Texwell wants to speak on politics. He said we need a political strategy to deal with this overreach by police. I'm hearing problems, no brainstorming. Let us brainstorm, beloved. All we do is regurgitate problems. I bet most of us don't know who our congressmen and senators are. Are you still here, Texwell? We welcome any input from you concerning a political strategy. Actually, we had a guest that we waiting on right now to come in, who was going to speak on the ADOS strategy. But let's see what you have to say. you were asking if anyone, or you were saying you bet many don't know. You said you bet many don't know who the congressmen and senators are. We got to do grown up politics and pressure these jokers. If we email them jokers, they would advocate for us, but we too above politics. So I guess you would need to clarify that. Jasim just came in. And D Christian came in. Peace, D Christian, wise you. Welcome to the channel, Texwell, the wizard. Motherland Gardens came in. I suppose Texwell has came and gone. I got, you know, Motherland Garden said, I believe we got to meet force with force. You know, when you talk about meeting force with force, right? And you know, let me say up front that you know this is not advice that I'm giving out here or suggestions. You know what I'm saying? But just dealing with the science of the art of war, uh, you don't want to meet. You don't want to meet a larger, more organized force head on. You know what I'm saying? Just based on you know, military history that I know about. You know what I'm saying? I never been in the army. But, you know, when you facing a larger, more organized force, you got to use a little more hit and run tactics. You know what I'm saying? It's called guerrilla warfare. So, you know, meeting force with force at this juncture, you know, never leave out the organizing. Never leave out the organizing aspect of doing something like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, in terms of self-defense, you know, that's you know, mandatory. You know, if you find yourself in a situation, but you know, never leave out the organizational impact, you know, on the front lines. You know what I'm saying? And meaning that I heard, you know, I just like I said, I never been in the military. Jasim been in the military. Maybe he could speak on this. That in the United States military, right? There's like 8 support people for every person on the front line. So meaning that for every soldier that you see on the front line, there's 8 people that's dealing with, you know, medical care, you know, making sure they got food, making sure they got ammunition and equipment, making sure they got gas for the, you know what I'm saying? They got 8 other people working to make sure that they could be successful and only have one thing to focus on when they're on the front line. Just as a, when I say, you know, don't see a hurdle is something that you could get over, but you got to know you running hurdles. You can't run the 100-meter hurdles the same way you run the 100-meter dash. You got to know that those hurdles is there so you can know how to overcome them. You know, not that these hurdles is insurmountable, but you know, we got you know, 175 years of history, you know, in terms of, you know, battling against the system to, you know, attain our rights, you know, at least the rest of them. You know, I'm talking about since Reconstruction, you know, where we've been actively, you know, like, what's the brother's name? Texwell was saying, you know, agitating on this political level, you know, doing different, you know, political levels, militant levels, religious levels, whatever. So out of that 150 years of history, we got to have some lessons that we learn. You know what I'm saying? And that's got to be one of the lessons right there. You know, like I said, you know, one advantage that a lot of these revolutions have had over time. You know, we were speaking on George Washington and uh, you know, Spartacus, uh, Toussaint L'Ouverture. You know, the people who were the leaders of the Revolutionary Army were once a part of the army that they fought against, that they fought for revolution against. Yeah, Master G came in. You didn't see Master G in a while. Peace of the God. Checking in from South Carolina. Our guy came in. What's going on down in the great state of South Carolina? Larry said you got to fight fire with water. When Master G said 120 and Art of War are critical in this time we are in. We do have more numbers, I think, if it comes to a civil war in the wilderness. See now, Master G, what it is though is the willingness. You know, like one thing we've seen, you know, in the midst of this, you know, kind of going back towards Motherland Garden's point, is that you know, is very few people that's willing to stand up. You know, like I was saying, you know, that camera, that cell phone is a degree of protection. You know what I mean? It's something that, you know, even if you notice when the person that's holding the cell phone, when they get attacked, they always kind of surprised that that happened. You know, you looking at it on the screen and you kind of separate it from it because it's on the screen and then it's on your uh, social media. You know, you didn't really look at it and look at what happened. You know, and that kind of, you know, putting your head in the sand, uh, that affects the numbers. You know what I'm saying? You know, you got to remember, you know, we're not gonna say 100%, but let's say, you know, 90% of kids are going to school and learning the Pledge of Allegiance and learning the Star Spangled Banner and, you know, learning about the greatest generation in World War II and the founding fathers and George Washington never told a lie. So the mindset that they have, John King. Yeah, that sermon, I don't know what happened. Motherland Garden said it's just the country boy in me to stand up. Bad choice of word. I'm just tired. I mean, yeah, I can't blame you. You know what I'm saying? I can't say that you know, the city boy in me doesn't want to stand up too, you know what I'm saying? But um, you know, we still gotta think about the civilians. You know what I'm saying? in terms of the civilians got to be ready, and for the most part, you know, they're still trying to protect the system, because of the benefits that they got from the system. Jeffet Muir, peace. All right, my name is Divine Knowledge Allah. When you are arm, leg, arm, head of all things, you don't sweat the small things. Peace. I mean, what do you consider the small things in this situation? Joseph, you headed back out to Vegas? Divine Truth said now all must be wise when being told that everything is all right. Reopening, regardless to whom or what, is being disseminated, for it may also be smoke and mirrors, and those who choose to do otherwise may be led to their demise. I mean, this is definitely something where the New York City had a police commissioner, Ray Kelly, and Ray Kelly was a former FBI agent. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen him on a documentary before talking about different things that they used to do, like tapping people's phones before it was rules about that. You know what I'm saying? He's an intelligence guy. So I'm saying, we had that in New York City for a minute. And one thing that he used to say is that people are entitled to a right to privacy, but you're not entitled to a right of anonymity. And I think that's something that's going to be taken to another step. You know what I mean? Like, to a certain degree, you got to be in my business to know some of these things. And if am I dealing with social distancing? you know how much will these things be made? Okay, it's not mandatory, but in order for you to receive certain benefits, you got to go along with it. In order for you to come back on this job, let's say, you got to put this program on your phone so that we can trace you and track you. The Christian said the phone is an invisible barrier. A false sense of protection has been proven in studies also. I didn't know they actually had a study on it, but yeah. Universal came in. Just Ruler said Pledge of Allegiance is like brainwashing. I remember in school, we had to say it every day. Yeah. That's so that it could be ingrained, you know. But that's one of the things that we got to discuss. One of the things we've been discussing in the group, is that all of that is grooming. Something that they call workforce training that they do in the schools. The workforce training, and That's basically preparing you to, fill whatever role at the bottom of the pyramid that they're going to need to maintain the top of the pyramid. Yeah, that's peace. See, Motherland Ghana is one thing you got to understand about, feeling that rage and that anger, right? Is you to keep it in perspective, is you got to know and understand that, that rage and anger is not our natural state. That's one of the things that happens in the communities that we exist in. You know what I'm saying? Is that the conditions bring about rage and anger, and then that's made to seem like it's our default state. You know what I mean? So that even in what we're talking about right now, how the police is mishandling people, what happened to Ahmaud Arbery, these things could be a little bit more accepted because it's looked at as our default state. But our default state is righteousness. See what I'm saying? So, keep that in mind. King Shah came in. King Shah said they are now making an interpretation based on the progress of trade gold. We will stay at home to give up our safety to the progress of the trader. I mean, yeah, the traders want they cut. Joseph said, when I'm in public, I leave my phone in the car charging. Yeah, that's just in terms of the distraction of it. You know what I mean? In terms of just your mind power. You know what I'm saying? In terms of you applying your mind and focusing your mind on what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And like Sunyez builds on a lot, just being mindful. You know what I'm saying? It's almost impossible when you constantly splitting your attention with the phone. So Devon says, small things are worrying about the devil when his time has been up since 1914. To take the devil off our planet, all we have to do is keep teaching the babies the knowledge of himself. Yeah, guaranteed, Devon. You know, we don't dispute that whatsoever. The thing is that is death, hell, and destruction going on right now. You understand what I'm saying? So what about all that suffering right there? That still needs to be dealt with. You know what I'm saying? When you're saying that you God of the universe, you know what I mean? We're in an emergency situation, and I'm not talking about this crisis right here. I'm talking about since 1450 when the Portuguese showed up. We've been in an emergency situation. You know what I'm saying? Where people are, they losing their lives right now. They being beaten and killed, hunger, nakedness. The way this thing is going down, we don't know if it's going to be out of doors, for some people after this. You know, these are not small things. For us to come up with solutions in this day and time. You know, in particular, we may have, and I wasn't paying. Well, I can't say I wasn't paying attention, but we're not speaking on the devil right now. We're speaking on the reality of our condition. You understand what I mean? And actually illustrating, like, see the brother Texwell, he's like, yo, call up politicians, email okay, email them and say what? When you say teach the babies what? Do you have a school to teach them? These are the things that we actually have to map out. See, when they say, why was Yaku successful in all his undertakings? You know what I'm saying? Look at how well he mapped out what he was doing. SW, KSW, I think we extending we extending the week that's going on here. We still observing Black Women Week. I guess Texwell came in and left that quick. I wish he would have. I wish he would have expanded a little more on that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's something that, like I said, when we look at the lessons, you know what I'm saying, of the last 175 years or so. You know what I mean? Where we've been politically active. Not just politically active, but active on every level of fighting for freedom, justice, and equality. Is a lot of things that we learn. Even 175 years. That's not the whole time. You know what I mean? There was things that was going on well before that. That's another lesson that I gained, which is that a lot of times when we went to fight for freedom, justice, and equality, right, we didn't know what freedom, justice, and equality looked like. Like, we didn't have a picture of the end goal. You understand what I'm saying? And being that we didn't have a clear picture, we weren't able to politic completely for what we wanted. We ended up politicking for change without necessarily knowing, what was going to change and how it was going to change and how those changes was going to affect us in the long run. Devon said, our degrees let us know that the civilized will always pay for the uncivilized. There's nothing we can do unless God brings about change. The civilized will always pay for the uncivilized. I don't know about that. Yeah, clarify that a little bit for me. I mean, I know which degrees you're talking about. But we talking about just babies. Just let me simplify it. Most people, I ain't gonna say, let me not even put a number on it. A lot of people in our community, right? We dealt with, different levels of pain, different trials and tribulations growing up. as children. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times what we see is that there's things within our power that we could do to stop other little kids from going through the same thing. And those are things that we must be concerned about. Motherland God said, talking about falling in a rabbit hole of self-information, I never heard the black man was God till I ran into this channel. Man, that's high powered. State of the art. What you up to, state of the art? The law will manifest. Where's Manola Music and Films? Manola Music and Films is he's in Atlanta. So he gives us a little insight about what's going on the scene with the brother Ahmaud Arbery. Pastor G said, truth be told, what do God look like? Asking, debating, or negotiating with the devils. We know what the price of freedom is. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I said, this is the type of thing that the way I look at it, this is, I don't think anything could be off the table. You know what I'm saying? Because nothing is off the table in terms of the ways that we oppress. You know what I'm saying? Meaning that, we dealing with attacks on us politically, legally, medically, militarily. It's so many different attacks. So it's not one thing. But even after you win the battle, you still gotta have something to build. See, like that's what happened to the Mongolian Empire. The remnants of the Mongolian Empire is really China right now. Because I'm pretty sure it was Kublai Khan. He decided to go be the emperor of China once he expanded the what do you call those people? The Mongolian Empire. What do they call it? At any rate, see, in terms of the Mongolian Empire, though, they didn't build. They only destroyed, really. You know what I'm saying? Meaning they was good at fighting, but there's no pyramids or buildings or great books and writings that I know of from the Mongolians. So no matter what, we always have to know how we gonna build and how we gonna born, life and show and prove that our knowledge out of the cipher. You know, even the greatest of warriors have to do that. 793rd said Aubrey's mom wants the death penalty and they have a black female head prosecutor. I heard about that with the black female head prosecutor. That's going to be a tricky case. You know what I'm saying? See, for me, the issue is that these kind of stand your ground laws,
it's 6 o'clock.
This is kind of an extension of the slave patrol, like the law itself, that these, 3 white men who, it's not even your house, could chase this brother down and shoot him in the commission of the citizen's arrest. That's the issue right now. You know what I'm saying? Is that as per Georgia law, just, and I'm not, there's much greater legal minds than me out there. You know what I'm saying? But as per Georgia law, everybody appears to be in the right. You know what I'm saying? I think the part of the case that probably leads to the most trouble is the cover-up. You know what I mean? Somebody was saying on one of the lives, I can't recall who it was, that, originally the police were on the way to lock the McMichaels up. And that the district attorney put in a call and called it off. So that type of thing kind of puts, a different twist on it than just manslaughter. But we had to see. Carmen Lumley came in. Motherland Garden said, I tell my best of friends what I hear on the channel and they think I'm crazy, but I keep banging it in their heads. Black man is God, so we have to move in a godly manner. I mean, that's the way to do it, Motherland Gardens. SW said we got to play by their rules. What do you mean by that? We got to play by their rules. Justice Bornala said identity, purpose, and direction is what's needed individually, unity, growth, and clarity collectively. That's some science right there. Add on with that though. I like the way that sounds. Identity, purpose, and direction. Unity, growth, and clarity. Motherland Garden said to put a little humor in the cipher. How do the gods deal with the dietary laws? That's going to be my hardest challenge yet. Tell the truth, it's kind of easy. See, just like every different type of cuisine. Let's say, Spanish food or this type of food, your taste buds are actually developed by what you eat. And, don't get me wrong, you got some people that's just picky eaters, but a lot of times your taste buds are developed by what you eat. So when you eat the food that you familiar with, it don't, like to Spanish people, Spanish food don't taste like Spanish food. Like when I was little, I didn't know that what I was eating was soul food. It was just the food. And I knew that other food tasted different. So by that same token, I'm saying that, you develop a taste, for the new things that you eat. And I don't know what it is, but it's something universal about pork that once you stop eating it, you can't be around it. Like you can't, the smell is just something peculiar to pork. I don't know what it is. Here, see, Knowledge Born said, you'll see that's the easiest part. Master G said our people have been abused in every way, and they know they instigating us in every way. The difference between us and the Mongols is that we will build and destroy, but they only knew how to destroy. Yeah, that's what they history right now. They known for being very good at fighting, but they're not good at building. Yeah, 793rd said, yeah, when as the facts come out, and the facts are all over the place. I saw in the New York Post there was an article where they had the guy. There was a guy. I don't know if that was when footage is from where all that would have to come out at the trial, but they had a guy that was inside of the house, and he didn't look like Ahmaud Arbery. So Master G said the district attorney doesn't look serious about her business, and the world never heard of her. I mean, that's one of the issues. You know what I'm saying? Is that in the regular everyday in their regular everyday dealings, the district attorney and the police work together. You know what I mean? They look at each other as being on the same side. So expecting her to be very fervent in her prosecution is this is where we see the situation arising, where some cases that seem fairly obvious to us what should happen ends up with a different ruling. Master G said they've been putting black snakes in position to confuse the masses. Yeah, and that's one of my questions, about the political, aspect of things, in terms of doing things in the present. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not putting no limitation of time on it to say that they got to do it right now, but I'm saying that it would appear to me that we have to produce the politicians that would go in and fight for any political change in our benefit. You know what I mean? We have to produce the people, with the right mindsets. You know what I'm saying? That's not, beholden to the same kind of power structure. Not kind of, but they beholden to the same power structure that's doing the oppressing. You know what I'm saying? You've gotten your mindset and your way of looking at the world from, the education system. Not saying nothing is wrong with education, but I'm saying getting your worldview and your mindset from the education system is a problem. You know what I'm saying? So, that's something we would have to do. You know what I mean? But you're right now, in terms of the politicians and the journalists, the celebrities, the generally famous people that have those type of platforms, you know what I'm saying? They believe in the power structure. Many of them have become a part of the social equality, just on the bottom rungs. You know what I'm saying? When you see somebody turning around and saying, the community this, and that to a certain degree, when you hear them espousing the same type of ideas and rhetoric as the mainstream, then I guess is exactly what you're saying right here. They're doing their job to confuse the masses. Majestic God a lot. As W said, I was saying that they dominate the resources and institutions. We still have to go through them to do us presently. I see what you're saying, but I would just take it a step forward further when you said we got to play by their rules. But here's the thing: let's play by their rules and not the rules that they put out there for everybody else. See, that's the thing. That is two sets of rules. Not saying we want to go according to the devilishment rules, but just saying that, if we go on, accord, like for instance, let's say we're dealing with the economy, we go according to the rules of labor while they go according to the rules of capital. You understand what I'm saying? Or in the Ahmaud Arbery situation, they going according to the laws of citizens and homeowners, whereas they applying the laws of a criminal and a burglar to him. And whatever, like I said, these images that they put out there of who we are, you know what I'm saying, and all this anger that we're supposed to have. Now, as Boris said, in Georgia, you can't commit burglary on a premises without doors. The lawyer was saying they didn't have a right to make a citizen's arrest. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're going to get really into the technicalities. But with the law, man, it's so tricky. So they can find a loophole before it even gets to the point of all this type of thing coming out. You know what I'm saying? But hopefully this rises to the level of, actually getting to the root of what this law is about, you know what I'm saying, what these laws are about and what do they really entail. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do they really give you the power to do? You know what I'm saying? Because some of these situations that we seen, you're not really standing your ground. In some of these situations, there's no threat to your life, really. But we see, the stand your ground law. I wonder what the statistics on the stand your ground law and how it's being applied. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, who's using it in their defense and who's, getting shot. I wonder if they have any statistics on that to say, because usually they do. You know, who are the people that's applying this law that are shooting people and saying, you know, yeah, I was just protecting my property or myself, you know, and who are the people getting shot? Devon said what I meant by my statement is called collateral damage because we've been at war with the devil. So now we are dealing with giant warfare. So if your immune system is not up to par, you're done. So wait, who you saying is collateral damage? Meaning if you're not eating the right food mentally and physically. Yeah, that's true. You know, like I said, this is definitely something where the technology, they don't have the technology to save you. You can only save yourself. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, like I always say, you know, when it comes to these things in the physical world, so when it comes to verbally, you know, we on here building, you know, you make a mistake, you can say, pardon me, and just correct it. You know what I mean? Or if you're not prepared with your studies, you can just go back and study. You know what I'm saying? But when you're dealing with these types of things like this, you know, you already had to be eating the right foods. You know, now's not the time. You can't just stock up, you know, on every vitamin right now and think it's going to make a difference. But this is definitely something that, you know, you had to be water. 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 Yeah, this is definitely something you had to be already prepared. Master Chief said we got to have a village universal voice, not an individual leader who speaks for all. I mean, it's not that you have an individual leader that speaks. It's what is he? First of all, what is he talking about? You know, is he speaking for the village? You know, and second, what you got to have is the village speaking for the individual. You know what I'm saying? See, that's another thing that happens right now is we may have a leader in something, right? And then a lot of times, you know, we spend more time kind of analyzing their flaws. You know what I'm saying? You know, like for instance, with the Kaepernick situation, you know, the situation was about exactly what we're dealing with right now. It was about police brutality. But somehow we allowed the situation to get morphed into a situation about NFL contracts. You know what I'm saying? Guaranteed the NFL contract ended up being a consequence of what he was dealing with. But what he was dealing with was a situation with police brutality. You see what I'm saying? And because we didn't stand up for him, you understand what I'm saying? Meaning if Martin Luther King said, listen, you know, we're going to go protest the buses, the situation with the buses in Montgomery, Alabama, right? And nobody showed up. Because remember, the actions speak too. And that shows a certain amount of power, meaning if a person goes up there to speak, because remember, we can't all speak at the same time. Like you said, we got a universal voice, but we can't all speak at the same time. But they already know, and this is one of the things that they do, you know, which is to try to discredit anyone who might try to rise up and be the proverbial black messiah that J. Edgar Hoover was afraid of. SW said, if I want property, I still pay them land taxes. I want to drive, they still have to certify it. That's not a trick. That's the daily systems they control that we have to abide by or be considered illegal or criminal. Hold on, let me catch up. I'm falling behind here and getting big. I don't know what happened with our guest. Hold on. Let me see if he texted me back to say he's not. Oh, I see what it says. Hold on for a second. Nah, that's he's the second person. For some reason, some people can't log on to the video part of the chat. So right now we having some technical difficulties. He can't get on the guest that we have for the day, but you know how we do. We continue to build. So Justice Bourne was expanding on his idea right here. He said, pertaining to the individual self identity, that the black man is God and the black woman is his earth, purpose, what role each has to act out, direction, what they have to do where collectively unity coming together, thus distinguishing who's alike and enacting growth and clarity, seeing this day as opposed to waiting on a mystery. Rome J came in the room. Playback K Black C Supreme said the way we can produce the politicians will focus on creating policies that will benefit black people specifically is to pay for them. The end. If we don't focus our dollars, we ain't getting nothing. Yeah, but it's how we apply the dollars. I think that's important, even in terms of, like you're saying right there, right? That's an investment. So that's why I think the investment is more at the ground level where, we have to invest somehow in the education of these people, right? Before they get to that point, because that's what's happening. They're being educated a particular way by the time they get to the point where they have, they're in politics and they're enacting policies, right? They've already been impacted. So, adding on to what you're saying, just agreeing with what you're saying, is that we have to produce them through education, providing scholarships for the type of skills and abilities that that we need to be applied for success. 793rd said they're going to make the legal loopholes dance like the great God Dumar Wadi made the lessons in supreme mathematics dance. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're putting their greatest legal minds together right now. Does anybody know? I'm sure, I think I heard that already, that there's a legal defense fund for the McMichaels. Devon said, I want you to do the knowledge on watercress. It kills any bacteria that goes to attack your lungs. I do think there's a point though, right? At which, if with diet, right? You fixing things with diet, I do think there's kind of a point of no return with the chemicals in modern society. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can maintain a lot of balance. If your body is well balanced, then yeah, you can use watercress, you know what I mean, or whatever it might be to kill bacteria. You know what I'm saying? But some people have ingested so many toxins. You know what I'm saying? Varieties of toxins. So say like if you eat something, right, and it says, well, this only has, 1/100th of the amount of poison that it would take to have an effect on you, right? But then what if you eat 50 things like that every day? So you're getting half of the poison dosage, right? But every single day. So it's not killing you at one time, but it's compromising you to a level, you understand what I'm saying, where I don't, watercress might not be able to help you. But that's, excellent knowledge right there. You know what I'm saying? For anybody who is keeping their body in equilibrium, that they might want to add watercress on for that purpose. Got Love in the building. What's going on, Love? I'm just catching up in the comments right now. What's the deal? Just Ruler said, I remember the Poor Righteous Teachers album, New World Order, on the outro, Wise Intelligence was speaking about problems that's going on today. The sad part about these things is that, you could go back to Nat Turner. You could go back to Nat Turner and they're complaining about the same things. It's the same complaints. You know what I'm saying? In terms of the injustice. You know what I'm saying? In and the coercion that brothers is being faced with. Oh yeah, Fly Phrase said they got a GoFundMe page. The McMichaels, they had a start off to their GoFundMe page. I did hear about this, where it said that it was going to support these two God-fearing Christians, right? What it said, these two good Christians, God-fearing Christians that were protecting the community. See, to me, it's the coded language that's in there. That's the Klan language. The Klan is a Christian organization, and their motto is that they're protecting, white women's integrity. That's that coded language. Oh, Rome J. Hold on for a second. Let me put that link. I keep telling y'all I'm an amateur broadcaster. So a lot of stuff that I'm supposed to be putting in the links, letting people know I appreciate the likes and all that type of stuff. Sometimes I get behind with that. But yeah, Rome J, I just put the link for the GoFundMe in the chat. The boss said the stay-at-home order has been officially lifted tomorrow at 5 p.m. For who? Justice Bornlaw recommend black seed bitters. What do the black seed? The black seed bitters is for respiratory health too. God Cyber Divine hit a very good point right here. That sometimes when we say diet, we getting a little caught up too. Is that it's an entire healthy lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? That the things that you eating is just one part of it. You know what I'm saying? And it's a part of your lifestyle, not just something that, you are trying to pick up for one day, or for a period of time. Like, you're gonna eat the watercress until you don't feel sick anymore, and then you go back to eating chips, then you really didn't do anything. Yeah, I didn't start my Mr. Green one. I didn't start my later on. That's gonna be me. Right now, that's not one of my recipes. Joseph said we at a point where now we can build and the world can see what we build through media and other outlets. What makes it hard to destroy our bills, or the world can see what we build through media and other outlets. That makes it hard to destroy our bills. We can then play politics. Yeah, that's with any relationship, what I'm saying, and this political relationship is a relationship, what I'm saying, both people gotta kind of be, I'm okay, you're okay. If one side is not solid, then you're not gonna have a good relationship. All right, Divine, with the watercress, right now, the YouTube police is after anybody who is recommending cures. So, it's in the comment section. Everybody can do the knowledge. Yeah, Knowledge Born is going into a little more the credo, I guess, of the clan or whatever you want to say. Is for the preservation of Christendom and the virtue, of the white community and white women in particular. This has been, like I said, if you look back at, I guess you could say, the literature of police trying to get more high-powered equipment, more high-powered guns and things of that nature, the excuse was always that there's some kind of, out of control black men that can't be stopped with the regular firepower. Shabar said high-powered guns in the name of virtue. But yeah, though, apparently I had that problem again where the brother couldn't, for whatever reason, the link for him to come on the video chat did not work for him. So we're going to have to reschedule that. We're going to have to reschedule that. And like I said, if anyone wants to come on and add on to something that they feel or something that they think could be a solution that we could apply. We started out with the idea politically, we had a little slight discussion on, some militant tactics that some people might be interested in. We didn't condone any of them or, recommend them per se, but we discussed it. So Justice Bourne says, when you look at, what is it? Bitter, what's the name of it again? Black Sea Bitters. So on the label of Black Sea Bitters, asthma and inflammation are addressed on the bottle. It causes any parasites or pests to flush out, including the lungs. Joseph said, now's the time to put these babies in the right positions to be the baby saviors. It's over for us. The babies are the best. So Love said, can we look at past pandemics and add on to what they learned? That's actually a question that I've been having, Love, in terms of apparently it appears that they've instituted all of the worst practices from the past pandemics. You know what I'm saying? Like, the way I understand it, quarantine was that was one of the issues. That was one of the issues with uh, the uh, the plague. That was actually, what's happening right now was actually a tactic. Was actually a tactic of the rich. Is that they would quarantine all of the poor into one section and allow the disease to just take all of them out. A lot of different things. You know what I'm saying? Another thing that they learned with the plagues was about how fresh air, has a positive impact on the body, and helps you to heal. That's another thing. I saw after a while some recommendations came out for that. You know what I'm saying? But in some ways, that's what it appears to me, that they instituted some of the worst practices that they discovered in other. I don't know. Well, yeah, we had pandemics. The Spanish flu is a pandemic. I guess misinformation. You would have to add misinformation on to another thing that is characteristic of the worst practices instituted during pandemics of the past. The Christian said air, sun, beach, water, etc., all good for illnesses. This, in a way, if they was gonna do this, it should have even came out with a workout recommendation or a workout regimen or something. Because see, that's another thing that's happening. People that don't have the focus, they don't work out on their own. Your immune system is becoming more suppressed now by you not having any activity. The bar said black seed is used for treating digestive tract conditions, including gas, colic, diarrhea, dysentery, constipation, and hemorrhoids. It is also used for respiratory conditions, including asthma, allergies, cough, bronchitis, emphysema, flu, swine flu, and congestion. Who was the somebody said June 6th. They was saying they was gonna they thinking about opening back up, but where is that? Is that New York City? Yeah, that's what it looks like. Pause will be extended until at least June 6th. Now, as Bourne said, the mask is also from the plague. The doctors wore a mask that looks like a beak. It was filled with hay or cotton like a filter. Yeah, I've seen that before. D. Christian said, we about to see who's playing and who's serious. Once Popeye's chicken have a sandwich special, cats gonna line up like they get enjoyed in retros. I mean, it did get pretty serious behind the chicken sandwich before. I mean, we had some shootings and everything. You know, hopefully it don't get that bad. That would be horrible. Horrible. So Devon said we can't keep trying to deal with politics because politicians are bloodsuckers. I mean, you know, that's one of those things where you gotta understand though, you know, is it politics that's bad or politicians that's bad? You know, politics is a system that's established to deal with a society of people. You know, but any group of people, they got their politics. You know what I'm saying? How they, make rules, how they come to decisions, and all the different things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? The way you deal with things in your house is politics. You know what I'm saying? The way you establish order, the way you distribute the resources, all of these things are politics, you know. But if you have politicians who are bloodsuckers, that's how it's going to come out. The boss said, I think that states composed of a larger rural versus metropolitan square area ratio will ease the lockdown. Yeah, more than likely they're going to be first. Love said, I don't want to forget all the C's who won't practice the graduation this year, kindergarten, elementary, junior high, and high school. I mean, um, personally, I guess that you could say that's my own conspiracy theory, but I don't think school is ever going to be the same again. You know, that's because they already, that's not something that they really wanted to be involved with. They was constantly talking about school overcrowding and all the different things of that nature. So, I think that's going to be something that we have to look at. We also got to look at what's going to be the requirements to go back to school. Will the requirements be that your family has to submit to making sure that there's contact tracing. You got to get the program on your phone so that they can ping you and make sure that you're observing social distance in your house. They got the new rules that we just was talking about with Bobby Rush, where they want to be able to come to your house and test you. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, personally, I think the schools situation is something we need to try to figure out on our own, because, if there's any weak spot that we have, you know what I'm saying, in terms of what SW was saying, where a lot of times we force to go according with their rules, is, with our children in the school system, because of how important that is to us. You see what I'm saying? We are here. Mr. Green once said, did you ever see the old late 60s, 70s video clip of the guy saying the government is right and exact? I mean, how do I see that? I mean, he drew it up right there. They doing what they supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? So you got to remember that, it tells you that Musa taught the devil how to be civilized, and he taught them devilishment. You know what I'm saying? That's not in each. That's not in each one of them. Some of them display the characteristics of civilization, and some of them display the characteristics of devilishment. You see what I'm saying? And we could deal with any civilized people that deal civilized with us. See, besides devilishment, we not anti nothing. You see what I'm saying? Just for the simple fact that Allah exists before all that. So what was you before that thing existed? You know what I mean? You can't define your existence by what you against. You got to define your existence by what you for. You know what I mean? So we for pro-righteousness, and no matter where that comes from, you understand what I'm saying? That's what we about. So, they do what they do, you know what I'm saying? And it's also about accepting the reality of the situation. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning that, let's say you playing basketball. The other team is supposed to try to score on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to just stand on one side of the court and get mad at the other team every time they score, like they did something wrong, nah, they did what they supposed to do. And now you got to do what you supposed to do. Or should I say you should have been doing what you were supposed to do, but that's what it tells you in terms of the making of the devil, is he was made in order to demonstrate to you how urgent it is that you do what you're supposed to do. But when they came and gave us a law school, right, that was the government. They was right and exact when they did that. Joseph said school was losing its effectiveness anyway. Yeah, I think it lost its effectiveness. You know, once they did integration. D. Christian said out here they in phase one in regards to lifting the ban. Got word some people never going back to their brick and mortar jobs, strictly online work indefinitely, supposed to save fund. And that's what I'm saying about the schools. Is that they was already, cutting as many corners as they could in the Department of Education out here. So that's one of the things what I'm saying. I think that going to school online, that's going to be a new thing. I've even seen where they working on computers. Robots that would be doing the giving the instruction. Knowledge Born said they saying some places are saying that kids are going to have to start all over next year. I was thinking about that too. That what if this is just a lost year? That's kind of unfair. So you got to be in school for 12 and a half years just because you happen to be born during the time. The boss said graduations this year in Maryland are going to be done through Zoom with the guest speakers speaking from different locations. So in Maryland, this thing is already taking place. What I'm talking about, then you're saying, the boss, because the school board in Maryland is meeting to see how much time the children will spend on school grounds and how much time to spend at home. That's what I was kind of seeing. Like I was telling my daughter, it might be a new kind of system where, for certain classes, you take that at your house and then you only show up at school on certain days to do like your PE. If you're taking science that got labs, you'll come in and do your experiments or whatever like that. But other than that, you just come and get your food and you go back home. They mail you your packets or you pick them up or whatever. But you saying that that's what they working on already in Maryland. Devon said the devil is unagreeable to live with. That's why things are the way they are. Under the present system. Lucifer said if the devil can't fool you, he shouldn't be able to surprise you. Joe Self said, my old earth asked me, am I prepared to homeschool? I'm like, heck yeah. Me, meaning the parents, got to take more responsibility. Joe Self said, after I'm settled in, this reset is good for me. Now I can take my fruit to zoos and museums and art shows and science centers. This summer is going to be a good one for my fruit. Yeah, that's the thing, man. In New York, they're closing all the recreation that they have for the youth. All of the swimming pools, the beaches, all of that as of right now is closed. So that's gonna be another issue right there. You got no school, no recreation. SW says someone in the digital world is trying to monopolize the infrastructure of society, even down to the swaying of medical experts. Joseph said kids hardly go on field trips these days if money don't stop their trips. It's safety. D. Christian says, so we in Total Recall movie now. The robots will be teaching the kids.
It's 7 o'clock.
D. Christian said, SW said, not quite Total Recall yet, but once they attempt to monetize the oxygen, this is a respiratory thing, SW. Not saying it's all the way to that level. Rome J said, at home schooling would not be a bad thing. It wouldn't. See, because first of all, like Joe Self was saying, in terms of taking more responsibility, it would require the whole community to be more about knowledge. Parents would have to build and maintain their knowledge to do the teaching as well. Rome J said parents can have more insight into what their children are learning. Love said they already monetize oxygen in the form of oxygen tanks, ventilators, and respirators. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that, this is a thing. So, like when they saying, we don't have enough ventilators and, we got to buy all these ventilators from here. And, we got to buy the masks. You know what I'm saying? Because, that was kind of that was the premise in Total Recall, was that you couldn't go outside the bubble, because there's no air out there which would kill you. But I'm saying, if we still under the same impression that we got these killer germs out there that don't make it safe for us to breathe the air outside, it's not the same thing, but it's related. Right, SW said we might be mandated to walk around with ventilators.
Yeah, Cobb City, innit?
Jasim said they also monetize oxygen with zoning, placement of dirty infrastructure, and support of petrochemicals.
Yeah, they just have stuff. Like, it's a bit of a walk, but it's not that far.
Love said try to get a ventilator and an operator of the ventilator with no cream.
From train stopping.
So yeah, and water has been monetized for decades. Nah, I don't even recall the end of Total Recall. Was he? Oh yeah, he was like, was it? I ain't sure what was going on with it. Was some type of dream thing. I know that was a crazy movie with a lot of little twists. I don't recall that part. So what if that came about? Peace Original Seed, what if that came about? So where they said, look, the air itself, the contagion has reached a point where we all need to walk around with ventilators, or a specific quality of mask or something. They outside doing their at 7 o'clock every day. They do a little some kind of celebration outside. I think it's for the nurses and the doctors, for the frontline responders. They're in the midst of that right now. Joe Self said if we can afford it, we should all look into life insurance. We got to leave things for these babies. Yeah, you know, those are different wealth accumulating strategies. You know, that's something that love builds on. You know, in terms of being able to transmit different kinds of literacy. You know what I'm saying? Like financial literacy, you know what I'm saying, in terms of a lot of times we see situations in the black community where you know, people are not able to maintain the advances that have been made. You know what I'm saying? Like a parent, you know, they work throughout their life, they make advancements, you know what I'm saying? Maybe they become a homeowner, you know what I'm saying? Maybe a business owner or whatever. And a lot of times they don't transmit the knowledge, you know what I'm saying, even on how they got to where they got, let alone, you know, transmit a plan on how to move forward. You know, a lot of black people are satisfied with just the basic literacy that they give you, you know, in school of the Arabic number system and the Greek lettering system. But there's all forms of literacy that we're not passing on. And other forms of literacy that we are a little too good at passing on. So these things such as, you know, ownership and insurance, these are not things that we're passing on. Love said instruments, saxophone and trombone. What you mean? Those is different examples of knowledge to pass on. Jackson said home ownership is a big one. Yeah, those is all different forms of literacy. You know how to play instruments. You know how to read the notes and all things of that nature. See, that's the thing that happens, you know, one thing you can learn from Trump is the way he deals with his young, the way he deals with his children. See, he's already passed on all the knowledge to them, about what he's dealing with. So if something happened to him today or tomorrow, they could pick right up. Original C said not having a plan in place is a result of poverty for our children's lives. My family had a lot of land in the South that was sold and not passed down to the future generations. You know, uh, Jasim is saying the same thing right here. The ownership of any asset and the benefits can be passed on generations. Yeah, but see, that's one thing that happens is we don't pass it on in time, within the right time. See, that's what happens a lot of times, all the energy and all the knowledge of these things, right, is only in one person. And then when something happens to that one person, everybody else don't know how to, maintain it and grow it. You know what I'm saying? That's part of what we saying about, raising people up from amongst our own population of people. So Self said, my thing is investing, and the best thing to invest in is the Black family. I don't see another way than investing in self. I mean, that's one of the elements of financial literacy that's passed on in other communities. You know, Original C said about the land in his family, it was either sold or the state took it over because they stopped paying taxes on it. Yeah. You know, uh, another thing with that, is that uh, the perception, right, is that it's more labor with ownership. You know what I mean? Or that the types of labor, like we've been marketed a certain lifestyle to. You know what I'm saying? And that lifestyle is like a disposable lifestyle. You know what I mean? With a lot less labor. So, what I've seen with a lot of these, with a lot of the property that's in the South, is that it was farmland, and a lot of people wanted to live the life that they see on the movies and the TV. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want to be farmers, you know what I mean, or hunters or whatever was going on the land down there, down south. And so they ended up, like Original Seed is saying right here, is relinquishing the asset. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a reason why they always tell you that, this is the land that our forefathers died on, and, all things of that nature, because they all continue to benefit from it. Whereas like Original Seed was saying, a lot of times you go one or two generations down and there's no more impact from an accomplishments that was made. You know what I'm saying? Many people's family had land down south. Jasim said a lot was snaked by the USDA too. That was I think that was the savings and loan. That was the savings and loan crisis. But there was a bank that was for farmers, a specific bank, and that like they loaned a whole bunch of money to some farmers, and the farmers couldn't pay the money back, and they ended up taking the farms. I recall that. Right. See, Original Seed is speaking on what I'm saying. He said that his old earth told him that she would rather pay rent for an apartment because she don't want to deal with the labor of a house now. You know what I'm saying? So, this is one of those situations where, she likes the devil because the devil gives her nothing. Knowledge Born said that happened to a lot of people who were given their parents' houses, but they were living savage and lost those properties. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They still, the literacy of how to accomplish that and how to maintain it wasn't passed down. Original C said the funniest thing about it is the rent is the same as a mortgage. How's that working for the future? Yeah, what I mean? All of those things is the result of becoming more and more connected to the matrix. You know what I mean? Where, in the movie, when the people are there in the pods, they not eating, they not doing nothing. They don't have any concerns because they don't have any concerns because the matrix is taking care of all of them. See, like I said, and when you look at the 28th degree, it tells you, what Yakub tells the mother to explain what happened to the baby. But it doesn't say what they told the father, because Yakub is the father of the entire society. So saying that is that when, they've gotten all of society right now to kind of accept them as that. So you don't feel that you have to worry about owning anything because Yakub got you. D Christian said, yeah, you gotta know your finances in order to not be house poor. Separate needs from wants. Budgeting is a major factor too. Yeah, these are not things that that's passed on. When I first realized that is strange too, because it was from Trump. At one point, it came out that Trump had a budget, right? And this is when Trump was riding high. You know what I'm saying? Before he had any failed businesses or anything of that nature. You know what I mean? Or it might have been when his first businesses failed, and maybe that came out as a part of the bankruptcy stuff. You know what I'm saying? But it said that Trump had a budget, and I had never perceived that, rich people would have a budget. It was 30,000 a month. It wasn't like, he was starving. But it just goes to show you that if even they have a budget, see, plus I don't know another thing about this ownership. I don't know how it works in other places. But in New York State, the schools is kind of the quality of the schools is kind of decided by home ownership, because a big part of the budget is from property taxes. What we got? Hold on. Let me put this link up again. Original C said Yakub got them off in space thinking about getting their hands on their social security and living in that false sense of happiness. I mean, yeah, this type of thing is the type of thing that they use, as an excuse to say, look, we don't have that. You know, we gotta cut back because, this thing forced, you know, not saying whether it's true or not is not the difference. El Lowry said I was talking to my wife about learning to invest. I mean, it's a whole different economy for them. From the tax rates they pay, to the amount of money they had to pay taxes on, what money they have to pay taxes on, you know, like Joe Self said, it's a whole other set of laws that apply to capital as opposed to labor. Asiatic mathematics Yeah, we're supposed to have a guest on today, but we had some technical difficulties, and he couldn't make it on. We got some other guests lined up for Friday still. Uh, probably be on between 5 and 7. I'm about to check with the guests and see when everything is convenient for them. But they're gonna be giving a talk. Like I said, one of the brothers, he deals with a lot of the unjust police mishandling of individuals, and what you can do about that in terms of diffusing the situation, and in terms of how you deal with it in the aftermath of that situation. If someone in your family or in your community in general get caught up in that. So yeah, I was just checking right here. Um, we up to $586. We up to $586 in our account right now. You know, peace to all the brothers that's adding on, so that we can see what we're gonna do in the future to improve our situation. And unless we got any more questions or anybody has anything they want to say, we can wrap this up. And then, of course, tomorrow is Suny's civilization class on Sunya 7. And Friday, we'll be back with the other guests. Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? Original Seed asks, have you ever heard about the guy from the Bronx, Jay Manzini? He invested in penny stock and he's giving back to the less fortunate people. Jay Manzini. Nah. And how is he giving back? Because, people got a real strange way of giving back in New York sometimes. Let's see if I see him on here. Jay Mazzini. Let me see. I don't think this is the right guy. He said he's from the Bronx. This is him. Jay Mazzini gives fast food restaurant workers $10,000 each. Nah, this is the first time I heard of him. Jay Mazzini. Yeah, I just seen this. Yeah, he's going around. He's going around giving out $10,000 a piece, huh? I mean, that's I guess that's a good bit of news right there to end up with. You know what I'm saying? Somebody out there doing a positive thing to help people out. You know what I'm saying? Sure, that'll go a long way for some people, during this crisis right here. But yeah, like I said, we're gonna wrap this one up right here. Everybody that made it this far with me, do the each one teach one, hit the like button for me. And I will see y'all on Friday. Peace.